Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the P-LotPodcast. John here, joined once again by the main man himself, Michael Angelillo. What's up, cuz? How we doing?
We're doing pretty good, man. Bills are hot. Um, Eagles looked awesome in their preseason opener. I can't, you know, can't complain about much at the moment in the sports
Yeah, we
world.
got So we're finally like, I don't know. When we say football's back, when they play the Hall of Fame game, is that when it's back? Like
No,
technically, yes. No, it's week one. It's week one is
yeah,
when it's
week
back.
one is when we're back.
But man, Michael, a lot of things happened in the NFL this past week.
Hmm.
CJGJ dodged a bullet with his knee injury. I don't know if you saw. First, it was reported he was out for the season. Now they
Yeah,
think Schefter says he could play week one.
yeah. It looks like he
They just
just
signed. They
avoided
just signed Jalen Mills, which I think is kind of funny. They're bringing in former
former Eagles. Yeah,
Eagles Super Bowl champion defensive backs.
yeah. It was definitely some, I guess. They needed some depth, but he definitely, I think, dodged disaster. CJGJ, which is that's good for the Texans. I was gonna say, like, it's ridiculous. The 2 years he's out of here, he suffers these season-ending injuries pretty early on. Detroit, what was it, week two? He tore whatever he tore.
Came
Then he
back for
missed
the
the whole
playoffs,
season.
though.
Yeah, he came back for one playoff game and
Well,
like
yeah.
barely played.
Even his first stint with the Eagles, Michael. Remember, he had like the bruised
Broken.
kidney,
Well,
spleen,
he also had like a finger injury or a hand injury.
like he broke his
Um,
wrist or something too.
Something, yeah, yeah. So he gets
Well,
banged up for sure, but yeah, good for him health wise. Let's start with the Eagles game on that was Friday, right? Yeah,
that was Thursday.
Thursday. Okay, yeah, Thursday. Okay, so Eagles Bengals. Eagles were victorious. Bengals played their starters for the first quarter. Um, Not all their defensive starters played, but like a good chunk of them, like good enough where if I were a Bengals fan, I'd be even more concerned than I probably would have been about the defense heading
Yeah,
into
this was
this
the
season.
B-Lot podcast.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
yeah, we would be losing our marbles, Michael,
yeah, yeah. Good.
because yeah, the Bengals surprisingly decided a couple days before the preseason game they were going to play their starters. As we know, Michael, the Eagles don't play
I,
their key players in the preseason. They
I feel
tend to.
like a lot of teams, TBH, are playing a lot of their starters. This at least week one. Like I feel like I've just seen. I saw Jordan Love. I saw. You know, the Colts obviously a little bit different, but they played their guys.
The Colts don't know who their starting quarterback is yet, technically, so that makes sense why.
The Raiders played Geno. A lot of teams ended up playing their starters. I think more than I initially thought. But yeah, it was surprising, I think, for the Bengals' sake, considering it's, the top two receiver in the league, like a top four quarterback in the league, top five quarterback, like a top two wide receiver two in the league. Like, all those guys playing felt a little, or I'm not sure if T. Higgins ended up playing, but it's just Chase Brown. Like they played their full offensive starters against what was mostly an Eagles backup defense. A few guys playing are going to end up being starters or just playing a lot. Um, Bengals kind of had their way on the offensive side of the ball. The Eagles defense definitely struggled to keep up with Jamar Chase, most notably Keely Ringo getting torched for that touchdown. Not a good look there. But I mean, it's Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. Like that's their money play. They'll do that 12 times this season. So like I don't think we should feel too bad about it. They're going to do that against some
Do
all
you
pros, I'm
find it
sure.
interesting that the recently acquired Jacorian Bennett might have his stock maybe rose significantly by him just
Not even playing. Yeah.
hanging out by the water cooler with like Jalen Carter and
Yeah,
Zach Bond.
we talk about like, oh, the Howie August trade. Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? And this year, Ja'Cory and Bennett. They traded obviously Thomas Booker, depth interior defensive lineman, for a young corner who Raiders fans seemed pretty high on, but not really a scheme fit with Pete Carroll. Um, yeah, I think Vic Fangio is pretty open on who the second corner is going to be opposite of Quinion. And honestly, I wasn't super encouraged by neither Dory Jackson nor Keely Ringo in the Bengals
Well,
game.
so this is so yeah, Keely Ringo is bad. Like I'm not gonna sit here. I think Keely Ringo is probably better suited maybe to play like safety where he's not where in other words, like he's gonna, not have to come up and cover someone, on the outside because you saw on that like I forget it was like a dig that Jamar Chase ran where he just was so slow shifting his hips to go in and try to make the tackle. Where if that was it's gonna sound a little unfair, if that was Slay, um,
Quinion.
Quinion, or DeJean, they make the tackle or at least slow him down. For someone to go in and not just let him run in unabated.
Yeah, no, that was a bad rep for sure. And people pointing out like his biggest weakness is probably his like lateral quickness, and that sort of play totally like abuses that aspect of his game. So good on the Bengals. Not great from Ringo. I didn't think Adoree Jackson looked particularly great either, to be honest. And granted, it is the Burrow Chase connection that is probably, honestly, definitely the best quarterback wide receiver connection in football. Those two guys working together. So mostly whatever from the corners. That'll
Well, I think
be a
it's worth
camp
noting.
battle.
I think it's important to note this though that the Eagles had their second string defense out on there, and in a regular season game, would like a Zach Bond or a N'Kobe Dean maybe recognize the play, call, adjust the coverage there,
Sure, sure. Yeah,
right?
there
And
there's
they obviously get hopefully a better pass rush. Now, I thought the Eagles twos. Let's just talk about the Eagles twos against the Bengals ones. We were talking
let's
about when
start
I
with the
hear
defense. Start with the defense.
right.
Because
I
that
would
was
say Gabe Hall and Ty Robinson, their play kind of shows you why they traded Thomas Booker, who was an intriguing death option for the Eagles last
hmm
year.
yeah.
Makes a lot of sense why, because they both look pretty good. And we heard about in camp that Gabe Hall was like the standout at camp. And, whenever I've been following the Eagles, Michael, since, I was a little boy. So like the mid to late 90s. And I feel like it's maybe jaded when you hear camp standout because you would hear all these stories about, oh, so and so was a camp standout. The Eagles would keep him on the roster and he legit just couldn't play, you know?
hmm
Or
Sure.
now, like Reed Blankenship was a camp standout. Comes in
Starter.
his rookie year, starts a couple games, looks pretty good. Following year is a starter. Played really well. And, same thing. Or you hear like Zach Bond was a camp standout.
No, for sure. Like
You know?
there usually it was not as good, but the I will say like the depth in the D line I feel pretty confident in. I thought they were fine against Bengals starters, truly. Uh the Eagles, they can't catch. What they have, like three dropped interceptions from like Jahad Campbell, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. dropped one. Ringo dropped one, or no, Eli Ricks. It was Eli Ricks dropped one. That one kind of caught him by surprise, but still like hit him in the chest. Um, Multiple dropped interceptions. I will say, I feel like the defense is honestly, there's a good chance it improves on the defensive line and even the linebacker front. I feel like they have better depth with the linebackers this year. I think the only the only really considerable part of the team that I think got worse was the secondary. And like that makes sense. You lost two veteran starters with Slay and Gardner Johnson And I just think, they're gonna have I think they're gonna replace them fine, but I don't think you're gonna get the level of play that you got from those 2,
Yeah,
and
let's talk about the safeties real quick,
yeah,
Michael.
yeah.
Before, so like Andre Sam was a guy that a lot of people were bringing up as having a strong camp. I think he was up and down. I think once the twos for the Bengals came out, he played much better. You know,
Mhm,
comparable talent level. He's going to be like a long term developmental guy. The
yeah,
guy
yeah.
that played a lot was Sidney Brown, and I think much like Keely Ringo, really good special teams player. But my God, Michael, Sidney Brown looks like he's either going to seriously hurt another player or seriously hurt himself while also hurting another player. He had one tackle where he literally just led with his head and just,
Mhm.
looked like he gave himself a concussion.
No, he's way too reckless. Way, way too reckless for me to feel
He would have been a
confident
good player
in
25
him
years
as a starter.
when the game was slower.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, listen, we talk about this all the time, draft busts, whatever. If your third round pick, was Cindy Brown was a third round pick,
He
right, or a
was.
fourth round pick?
He
Okay.
was a
If
third
your
round pick.
third round pick busts, quote unquote, into like a pretty damn good special teamer, that's a pretty good sign. And I mean, Sidney Brown is a good special teamer. That's sort of flying 100 miles an hour to the ball kind of recklessly plays a lot better on like a punt, for example, where he can just dive at a dude's thigh and make a huge tackle on a punt return and really shift the momentum, hit a guy hard, force a fumble here and there. Like that's great. But when it turns into like scripted, structured defense, and he's got to read a play and fill. It's not a question of him filling super hard, but it's like you said, that play, his head is parallel to the ground, like just straight, looking straight down,
He's
and
not looking where.
totally.
Yeah, but even that
He's
too.
not looking where he's hitting. It's
He's
like
not
it's the
looking where he's hitting.
101 on how not to tackle, and like it's really reckless. It's dangerous, and it's not trustworthy. And other than that, I also didn't think he played super great. I don't know, like I feel like in coverage he was a little late to assignments. There was that one bubble screen that he blew up the blocker nice, but he couldn't get the tackle down, and like
Or
Ringo didn't come
slow
up
the
and
guy
tackle. It's
down to
just
get tackled, but like make a
right,
play
like
on
it's
the
just
ball. Yeah, he wasn't
when
making a play
you
on the ball.
yeah, like you
It was
as the
basically like
safety.
breaking a wedge. He was basically breaking. It was like a special teams play. He was breaking a wedge that was being formed.
You as the safety, like you need to be really, you got to be cleaning up these tackles. And if your method of tackling is just going to be throw your body as hard as you can, it's risky. Like CJ threw his body as hard as he could, but he was a really good tackler and like made huge plays in the hole in the running game. You know, in the Falcons game in the regular season, in the Rams playoff game, in the Packers playoff game. Commander, there's so many plays you can think of where it's short yardage on a run, he fills and goes and meets the guy in the hole, and they don't get the line to gain. Where like Sidney Brown, if he lands the hit, it's going to look really cool and it's going to be like ooh, and everyone in the stadium's going to freak out. But if it ends in the guy bouncing off the tackle and he's laying there on the ground injured, we're gonna feel like idiots. So honestly, I think he's not really necessarily to be trusted as a starter at this point, which leaves that other safety position open. Makuba's been banged up throughout camp, so we'll see. It might start off. It might be one of those things where, like last year, we started out with Avante Maddox and rotating in the nickel spot before Cooper DeJean got healthy and took over. I feel like we might see a similar thing where it might start out as Sidney Brown, and then as a Makuba heals up and gets up to speed, we could see him
I don't know.
relieving
I
him as the
think it might
starting
be
safety.
faster than that because from what I've read, Makuba got all the first team reps. Like they basically were like,
Resting him, you think?
no, I think they were resting him for this
That's
game.
what I mean, like resting him in
But
the
like I
first game
think
of the
they
preseason.
feel like as soon as like he's back practicing now. Like he's back.
Okay.
So
I listen,
I
I hope so, man.
because I think they were resting him because they want to see. I think because we have the Eagles have the joint practice with the Cleveland
Mhm.
Browns. I think they want to see how he like Makuba does against you know in the joint practices, and they were really high on him. And listen, like, here's another thing too is, where everyone was all freaking out, like, oh my god, cut Keely Ringo. No, he's not. Keely Ringo is not getting cut. Adoree Jackson would, if the Eagles were to go out and sign Asante
Another
Samuel
corner.
Jr.,
Yeah.
who's got a more proven, younger, more proven track record of being an NFL starter. They're going to cut Adoree Jackson, right?
Yeah, before, yeah.
Right now, I would
I don't
not
think
be
either of them are getting cut, to be honest with you. But
right. I would not. However, I do think when you look at the Eagles' safety spot, and maybe in the secondary in general, they kind of need, like, the big thing with losing in Slay was that veteran presence,
even Gardner Johnson too. You lost
right?
two strong defensive leadership
I
presence.
think, like, is it like the worst kept secret in the league that Justin Simmons is going to sign with the Eagles closer to the end of camp?
I don't know, man. I feel like they would have done it already. You know,
I don't know. Like, that's what I was thinking too. But I think maybe knowing the Eagles, because they like to, the Eagles bring in veterans in these trades, like the last week of, like, the preseason, you know.
and Dotson was after the preseason,
But
right?
Simmons knows the defense already, so, like, it's not.
Maybe, maybe.
I think, and I'm not saying, oh my god, we need Justin Simmons. I would like the Eagles to have a veteran in the secondary, just because I don't know, man. Like, I feel like, especially with, like, a Sidney Brown, like, would Justin Simmons help Sidney Brown not tackle like a psycho? Like, no,
I'd
but
like to
you have Makuba, and
making
I think Reed. Like, I think having that there would really help benefit both of them, I think, to a certain extent. And not just that too, like, the Eagles deployed three safeties a lot last year, and you notice the Eagles defense really took a step down whenever Tristan McCollum had to play meaningful reps, or if Avonte Maddox had to play meaningful reps. And
no,
having Justin
it's true.
Simmons instead, that would make me feel a lot better, because I feel like Sidney Brown is just going to be like a more violent Avonte Maddox, basically. God bless you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
No, I agree. If there's anything I came away with slightly concerned with, it was I think just secondary depth. Where like I think they have nice pieces throughout, but some of the guys are just going to have to play a significant amount of snaps, and I don't know if I feel super comfortable with any of what I saw on Thursday being, you know, regulars in the lineup there. So it'll be interesting to monitor. I
Let's
do
talk about
think
the
that
positives.
yeah,
Let's talk
that
about the positives. Then we'll move on. I want to. We'll move on, and then,
we'll go to the offense because
yeah.
the Eagles offense, it looked great against the Bengals starters, against the Bengals twos. They moved the ball with ease. Tanner McKee moved the ball with ease. You know, we're texting each other like, man, what does Jared Goff do that Tanner McKee can't do? Like that sort of stuff. You know, it looked really
I took your text message. I sent it to my buddy CJ, and I'll put the PG. The only thing Jared Goff does
yeah.
better than Tanner McKee is that he's dated more beautiful women than Tanner McKee. Other than that, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, McKee it looked very like, the reason I said that is just because it looked super gothy, like, the throwing motion, the mobility or lack thereof, and, like, even, like, the way they even threw on the run, like, it just looked very, very much like Jared Goff, and I was like, "Man, like, if you put him on the Lions last year, I really don't think there'd be a massive difference." I don't know, maybe I'm just being a little biased, whatever, but McKee looked great. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
Threw a
who
nice
Tanner
ball.
McKee actually reminded me of a lot of. He reminded me, like, remember Matt Hasselbeck?
Yeah,
And the reason
sure.
I mentioned Matt Hasselbeck is because I remember, like, this is the Eagles have tried to copy this strategy with
Mhm.
the quarterback factory. The Packers at one point in the mid '90s, on one depth chart, Michael, had Brett Favre, Matt Hasselbeck, Mark Brunell, and their practice squad quarterback was Kurt Warner.
It's a pretty loaded quarterback room. No, I hear you,
You
man.
know,
It's
and the Packers would just trade quarterbacks to get more picks, and the Eagle, I think the Eagles have tried to do that to a certain
yeah,
extent as
yeah.
well.
In addition, I felt that the offensive line just generally played well. I thought Steen had had a couple not great like run blocking reps, but had some real nice ones. The big one that sprung a huge early run from Will Shipley, who I thought looked better than he did last year. I think that's going to be a nice improvement from like, and I love Kenny Gainwell, I really do, but I think that Shipley might be able to give you a little bit more, and that's part of the reason why they moved
Well,
on from
Kenny,
Gainwell.
so like Kenny Wood was a good special teams player, and that's a big thing too. Is like
He was a good change of pace too. Like he there was what game was it? Was it the Packer game or the Commander game? Maybe the Ram I don't know. He had one of the playoff games where it was just like every time he touched the ball, he was making something happen. Like he had a few catches that he would catch in the flat and
I
run and
was
get like 8
so when
yards.
like I don't know, like so I don't know if you noticed this past season. Saquon would never be on the field. Like his rest period, right, was I would say with 5 minutes left in the second quarter was like Kenny Gainwell minutes. Like
It
we're
was
like
like the 2-minute drill. Like it was
it's like we're
4-minute drill,
talking about
2-minute
like
drill.
almost like hoops.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the Eagles knew we need Saquon for the second half. This is when Kenny is gonna get all of his reps, basically.
He would make plays, dude. Like
And he
he
would
was
pick up like he would break. He would they'll like run. They'll be like 3rd and 4. Everyone's covered downfield. Check down to Kenny. Picks up 6 yards.
he
Gets
makes a
out of
guy
that.
miss and get a first down. Yeah,
Gets a
no,
first
it was
down.
impressive, and I think Shipley will be capable of doing that. You know, he showed flashes last year too, and I think that in an expanded role, we'll see expanded performance from him. What I really wanted to highlight on the offensive side is two, honestly, three, and briefly Jahan Dotson. He looked great. Was getting open, was shifty after the catch. It was nice to see that he looked comfortable building off perhaps what he did in the playoffs last year. It'd be nice to see if he could get a little more involved in the passing game. I know the passing game as a whole might be a little just limited just because they run the ball so much, but it's nice that he could be a legitimate weapon on top of all the little things that he does, like setting really good picks and, you know, just clear out routes. He runs those really, really well. He really seems to have embraced being a third receiver with two elite guys above him and doing everything he can to make
Well,
everyone's job easier.
I think there was a couple other wide receivers that stood out.
Yes, these are the two that I wanted to talk about in the, I guess, wide receiver four competition. Johnny Wilson and Darius Cooper. We'll start with Johnny Wilson. We got like the full experience. Early on, it was like, oh my God, like this is why they drafted him. He was making multiple 50-50 ball catches, contested catches, like good adjustments after a ball was tipped. He was getting, some separation too. I was like, man, this is what they had in mind. Like I've seen enough. Give him the wide receiver four spot. It's pretty clearly him, whatever. And then when it was like DTR, all of a sudden he was dropping a couple. He like dropped like two passes after the fact. And I was like, dude,
He
what are you
wasn't
doing?
he wasn't getting those
Those
nice
McKee balls.
those
Yeah,
those
like
those McKee pillows that getting
yeah,
thrown his way.
exactly. But the other so like you got the full Johnny Wilson experience. What I was super encouraged with was Darius Cooper. That dude was a machine. He was getting open, strong catches, strong adjusted catches. Did he score a touchdown? I think he scored a touchdown.
Yes. He
He
probably
looked
should have had a second
really,
one if
really
you
good.
recall in the end zone where they had to kick the 23-yard field goal where like they try to force a pass, I think, to Johnny Wilson.
It
Where
was the fade route, yeah.
it was probably McKee's like worst play.
Was it
That
McKee or was it DTR?
It was McKee. Like he kind of tried to force a pass, like a fade to Johnny Wilson, but he had Cooper wide open in the back of the end zone. Like he
Cooper
turned, yeah.
Cooper was good, man. I was encouraged. He's saying all the right things too. Like he seems to have a really strong mindset. Really hard competitor. It looks like really hard worker. I think That's a guy I would not be opposed to being
They had him
the
working with the
4th
ones
receiver on the team.
yesterday.
Yeah, so I mean, if I had to guess, they're gonna keep 5 wideouts on the roster, like, that pretty much makes sense. You have your 3, and honestly, if it's just those 2, it's a shame because, like, Aeneas Smith, I think, is good as a returner, and I think he honestly gets that leg up in that sort of situation and another good depth special teams piece, but if you're only gonna keep 1 more out of those 2, out of Wilson or Cooper, it'll be interesting to see who ends up winning that competition, because I do think that
Well, that's the thing with Dotson is he's
they
a
have
free
different
agent at
strengths.
the end of the season, right? And
Mhm.
I don't think the Eagles are going to retain him. Not that they don't like him, but
He's
he's
probably just
gonna
gonna get priced out a little bit.
he's gonna want to go be a starter somewhere, like kind of like Mac Hollins did this past year, where he was on the Bills. He was in and out of their starting lineup. He made some plays, but then he went to New England because he wants to compete for a starting job, right?
Mhm.
They're
It'll
gonna
be it'll be
keep
interesting,
they're
yeah.
gonna keep Darius Cooper. To me, Darius Cooper is kind of like he might be like the Eagles, like the offensive version of like a Reed Blankenship, where they want to keep him around, and they're gonna probably tell him like, dude, you need to learn special teams, so because we want to keep you, but we can't keep you as the fifth receiver if you're not going to be doing coverages. But if you look
Productive on
at him,
special teams, yeah,
well, Michael, when you look at
because
him, he's not very tall, but he
he's
looks
not
like
tall.
he's
He looks like he can tackle somebody. Like, he looks like he can go make a play,
he
where,
looks
like,
like he,
Johnny
yeah,
Wilson
he's kind of
is not
built like a safety a little bit. Like he could
yeah, Johnny
probably.
Wilson's not fast enough to be, like, a gunner or on special teams, really, so, like, I think that, they like you said, they wanna keep him on the roster, and eventually, he could probably be this team's 3rd wideout, like, that was
He's 5'11". I looked up. So here's my like.
I mean, how tall's Dotson? He's not very big.
No, he's not really big either.
He's also 5'11", so there you go.
So I actually have his scouting report.
Mhm.
So Darius Cooper from the football powerhouse Tarleton State,
Nice.
5'11", 210 pounds. That's what we measured at. I don't think he was even in the combine. Stocky wideout who plays with good urgency and play strength when contested, but lacks the speed and functional route running ability to get away from NFL caliber defenders. Compact physical target, it would make the most sense to utilize Cooper as a big slot receiver instead of playing him on the perimeter, where a lack of separation would be exacerbated. He needs to eliminate some of his drops for his ball skills to truly stand out, but it would be difficult to succeed in the league if he doesn't learn how to get in and out of his breaks properly.
Sounds like a great wide receiver 3 to
So
commend.
do you know who he kind of reminded me of a lot? He
Mm.
kind of reminded me of Jason Avant.
Not the fastest guy, not the quickest guy,
I think
strong
he's faster than
hands.
Jason Avant ran like a 4.6 or a 4.7. That's why
Yeah,
he
Jason
felt
Bond was
like
not fast, but he was
no.
very strong-handed, very reliable. Dude, that'd be awesome. I guess we'll have to wait and
I
see.
would
It'll be
say like
something
the
to
ceiling though for like undrafted guy comes out of nowhere, you know, was a big contributor. I would say the guy I was kind of thinking of was Victor Cruz, former
Dude, if
Giant.
he turned I mean, dude, if he becomes Victor Cruz, we're in some business here. But if he can just turn into a wide receiver 3 on this roster where we feel, like, not doomed because of it, I think that's a pretty
Well, when you look
damn
at the Eagles, remember,
successful
like obviously,
move.
like Jahan Dotson's better than Quez. Like he's much better than Quez.
Yes, miles better. It's not
Than
even
Quez.
close.
Like
Yeah.
Quez is like out of the league, right?
Yeah, Quez had the tools, but I don't think mentally was fit for it, and whatever. Like, I think he let some mistakes compound itself instead of being able to bounce back, drop issues, etcetera. Dotson does all the little things really, really well, on top of being, like, a capable receiver too, so, um, yeah, overall, I would say it was a pretty positive week 1 of the preseason. I thought the defense played very, very well against the Bengals, like, non-starters, and the offense looked pretty solid kinda throughout. So, yeah, a pretty successful week 1. Do we wanna talk the NFC West, or we wanna get into some baseball? I think
Let's
stick with
yeah.
football.
So obviously, I think for next show, well, I'm actually going to be away, so we're not
Yeah,
going to be able to do the show next week.
it's
But
fine. We have
you
some
know,
time.
I do think though that I don't really count play calling much in preseason, but I'll say this, man: the Eagles hired Bowling Green's head coach Scott Loeffler to be their quarterbacks coach.
Hmm.
Tell you what, man, like he was known, like Bowling Green was known for having one of the best schemes in like college
Yeah.
football, right?
Hmm.
Despite being not like a Power Five school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, what if the offense is like better this year than it was last year, particularly in the passing game? We just kind of saw that.
I mean, listen, like Jalen, all the talks about Jalen. He didn't crack 3,000 yards last year. Simply a fact. If he played the whole Commander game, whatever, he would have hit it, sure. But like, he wasn't going to get far over it. Is the point? And again, clearly doesn't need to. But if the passing game is in a spot where it's not week 10 and we're sitting there like, dude, I'm a little worried about the passing game. Like maybe all those people that are clamoring, oh, what if the it's less about Hurts and more about like the passing game as a whole. That's how I felt kind of pretty much all last year when it was like people were doom talking the passing game. A lot of people were making it a Hurts conversation where it's like, oh, what will Hurts do if they put 9 in the box and 8 in the box and shut down Barkley? My thought was like, it's not about what Hurts can or can't do. It's like, are they going to be able to draw up passing plays that get open if they really totally shut down the run game? Are they going to be able to draw up plays that aren't just go balls to your two best guys and pray that those work out? And they showed that they could handle it, but there was definitely a stretch in time where the passing game was very, very frustrating. I think we'd be foolish to deny that. If we can go through this season and it looks like there is some new freshness with the passing game and there's a new, feel to it and we don't go through these ruts where we feel hopeless, like, dude, the Eagles, where we already think they're going to be really damn good, but it truly like teeters on legitimately unstoppable if the passing game doesn't go through the ruts that it went through last year, because we know what the running game is going to be. The threat of Jalen opens up everything for Saquon. Saquon's still incredible. Health, obviously, dependent, but if the passing game does not have us in like November questioning everything, we are going to be in store for, I think, another wonderful season. So,
Knock on wood. I mean,
knock on wood, man.
I bring up Scott Loeffler because like it's really rare when a college head coach just leaves his job to go to be a position coach in the NFL.
It is rare. It is rare.
Right.
And I mean, I guess this is a pretty good place to showcase, if you want to
Like
eventually
I
make your
think
way out.
Scott
But
Loeffler is probably going to be the Eagles play caller in some point in the next couple years. In my opinion.
we'll see.
We'll see. Anyway,
All right, let's get into the NFC West before we talk some baseball. So I think this is one of the more. We talked about the AFC West
there
being
could be
perhaps
three
the most.
playoff teams from this division, maybe four.
Yeah,
If
there's a
way
very competitive division afoot with this. I want to start with who I think we'd probably agree is likely going to finish fourth. They're not gonna be, like, bad, for example, but I just don't think they have enough to really compete. This feels like kind of a reset year for them. They cleared out some money, they got a little bit younger. The Seattle Seahawks is who we're talking about here. I think it's a downgrade at quarterback from Geno to Darnold.
very expensive downgraded quarterback.
Expensive downgrade. They did draft Jalen Milroe, who's in as the 3rd stringer behind Drew Lock. Well, I wonder if things really start going awry for them if he eventually gets some reps as the starter. Like, if I were the Seahawks and things were going not well and it's pretty clear we're gonna miss the playoffs, I personally, if you weren't gonna keep Darnold as the starter or if Darnold got hurt, I don't really need to see much of anything out of Drew Lock, to be honest. So, like, I think if Darnold goes down and it's mid to late in the year and they're not looking good, I definitely would want to see Jalen Milroe as the starter to see what they have there. So anytime you're in a situation like that where it's more likely than not you're on the outside looking in of the playoff picture and some issues with the quarterback pertain and you want to play your day two rookie, I think that's usually the outlook for the team in the current year is not too great. Their running back room, I still think is pretty strong. Kenneth Walker is very, very good when he's healthy. That's a big win. He gets hurt a lot. Zach Charbonnet has been a much more than serviceable backup. Is pretty good when he gets opportunities to be a starter, but I think is still better suited as a backup. Their receiving room, unfortunately, does not do much for me. I like JSN a lot, but Cooper Kupp and Torrey Horton and Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Jake Bobo doesn't really move me at all, honestly. Cooper Kupp, I felt, was pretty washed for most of last year. He had a few games where he looked like himself, but other than that, it was pretty tough sledding for him. I don't I'm just not very encouraged with their receiving room. It kinda made me confused on their whole offseason, going to Darnold, but then trading DK and letting Lockett walk to kinda lose some of that wide receiver room stability, where I think a big part of why Darnold had great success in Minnesota was that he was throwing to Justin Jefferson, um,
Jordan Addison.
Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson. Like those were three pretty nice names to be throwing to on a consistent basis. And now you're just looking at
With Kevin O'Connell, one of the
JSN.
best scheme guys in
Right, right.
business.
So not super encouraging receiving room. Their offensive line is still not too great. Yeah, I'm just not a big
I don't know.
fan
I
of
don't
what
know.
they have going.
I think the Seahawks offensive line.
Like last year was pretty putrid, I'll be honest. Like it was
Well, they had
under
injuries.
duress. Yes.
Yeah, I mean they have Charles Cross, who I think is pretty good. Rookie Gray Zabel. I wanted the Eagles to possibly draft him in the second round. Didn't fall. They took Makuba. I mean, I liked him a lot, but I agree with you, Michael. Like, it's weird. I think the Seahawks are going to have a really good defense, and Mike McDonald, their head coach, was really good with Baltimore.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I kind of wonder, is this going to be a team? Are they going to be like the Giants, where their defense is really good, but they just can't score any points because their O line is inconsistent? And they just can't generate enough juice on the ground to just make I don't think Sam Darnold can be a good game manager because he sees ghosts. Like a good game manager could just gets the ball out real quick, checks down, isn't worried about knows his reads. Like you saw that playoff game against the Rams. Like he was
Oh my
holding on
god.
to the ball way too long. Kevin
He was under
O'Connell,
duress.
when he was under duress and the Vikings have a good O line, Michael. That's the thing too. It
It
wasn't
was
like
pretty banged up. It got once
it was
once
banged up.
their
But they
starting left
listen,
tackle
Jalen
got
Hurts was
hurt.
under duress against the Rams too, and they still managed to move the ball, score points.
It did. It got dicey for a moment there, offensively at least. Like
Right.
not running the ball, I'll say. Um, the snow helped into that too. But no, I hear you. There's reason to be concerned. With Darnold especially. Defensively, like they have Josh Jobe lined up as the starting corner opposite of Reek Woolen, which is kind of funny to me. But I mean, Jobe's fine. Their safeties are nice. Bryant and Love. Witherspoon is very, very good. Uh, Nicky Manwari is good depth to have. Leonard Williams, I think, is still very, very good. We'll see what Demarcus Lawrence has left in the tank.
Ernest Jones is a very underrated linebacker.
Yeah, I think their
Boye
defense.
Mafe is a really good linebacker too. I
I
think
think their
listen,
defense can be good.
dude, this kind of does resemble looking at their team, Michael. Like, dude, the post 2000 Super Bowl Ravens, like before Flacco. This is kind of what they looked like.
I mean, that's pretty ugly, man. I don't think
You
this defense is like the Ravens, to be fair, but
yeah, that's basically what it kind of. So
yeah,
it's basically screams 7-10 to me.
more likely than not. And what I think is going to be a pretty competitive division. Where do you want to go next? Because
Well, this is the team I think that is going to finish in third. It's going to be the Arizona Cardinals.
okay,
Well,
I, I
actually,
I am a wee bit optimistic on the Cardinals, and maybe I'm just wrong and drinking the Kool-Aid again, drinking the Kyler Kool-Aid. But I look at the Cardinals, and it's hard for me to not see a vision where I think they can compete for this division.
oh, I think they could compete for the division. I think they could win 10 or 11 games. It's just, the teams
I
that
think,
they're
yeah, yeah.
competing with have way better head coaches, and they're just more like established. Like, all right, so I was like research. Obviously, I've been researching this for each team that we're talking about, each division. Going back last year, seeing what the big stories were, bro. There's going to be a lot of people who draft Marvin Harrison Jr. in fantasy, where if like he was going the second or third round in fantasy last year,
Last year, yeah,
which was
yeah.
wild, right? Like I don't. Did he even finish with 1,000 yards? Like I don't think
I
because I
think he
remember
did. I think he barely eclipsed it. If
he
I'm
barely eclipsed it. But here's the thing,
maybe
though,
I
too,
don't
because
know.
he would have these games where he had like 200 yards receiving. You're like, oh my, no, he didn't. I was right, he did not. 62 catches,
885.
885 yards, 8
Did he
touchdowns.
miss games? Do you remember?
Nah, he missed one game.
I mean, it's not much. Yeah, yeah. No,
116, 116 targets and 62 catches. That's not good.
no, it's not. I
That's
will say,
bad. That's
yeah,
like 45, 50 times Kyler missed him.
yeah. I think that connection gets better this year. I do. I refuse to believe it's gonna be like some missing
And listen, I'm sure a
piece.
lot of it's on Marvin Harrison Jr. too. Like, I remember Kyler Murray's quote, "It's not my job
Yeah,
to,"
yeah.
and
That was
Kyler was,
pretty
we were
discouraging.
like, well, it kind of is your job. You're the
Like it's your
throwing the
job a
ball.
little bit, man. Yeah.
But
So
if he's running like the wrong routes, or if he's doing like running the wrong route and he throws the ball and it gets
yeah.
incomplete, and I can see Kyler being like, dude, I'm not going to throw you the ball if you're not running the right routes. If you recall, Marvin Harrison Jr. entering the season
Hmm.
was embroiled in a legal battle with Fanatics
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
because his dad signed his contract for him. And they said it was going to be voided because he didn't sign his contract, his dad did, which is technically fraud. Yeah. So
Sure. So point being is why I'm high on the Cardinals or high-ish. I look at the skill position, man. Like Trey McBride is
top three tight
almost
end.
almost as good as it gets with the tight end position. He's like the very close to like the perfect tight end that you can build. James Conner is just like a machine. Every year he's really hard to tackle. He will just churn out yards, run the clock. He's just a very, very good back. I think Trey Benson has a nice role as a backup there. I am high on Marvin to have an improved year. I think Michael Wilson is a nice supporting piece. I think Zay Jones is a nice supporting piece. Greg Dortch shows flashes every now and again. Their offensive line is like fine. It's nothing special, but it's fine enough. I just think a lot of the pressure falls on Kyler Murray to have like a full, complete season. Even his best year in what was it, 2021 when the Cardinals started like 7-0 or
He
whatever.
was the front runner to win the MVP before.
Right. And then like, things just started to fall apart towards the end of the year. They still made the playoffs and got embarrassed in a playoff game. So I think that he has a lot to prove, one of the most to prove, I think, out of all quarterbacks this year, where he just needs to be able to put it together for a full season. Because if he does, I really think this team could win like 11 games. I look at their defense and it's good, man. Like I really like that front four of Sweat, Campbell, Tomlinson, and Robinson. I do. Buda Baker is still really, really good. Their secondary is fine enough. I think Gannon his scheme is, like, fine enough for what they wanna run. I do worry about their defense, but I think their front four is pretty capable. I am rooting for Josh Sweat to have a nice season. If there are other things with the other 2 teams in this division that are pretty concerning to me, to where if they do go south for the Rams and for the 49ers, that the Cardinals, I think, can definitely sneak and win this division. I don't think it's super far-fetched, but it would be nice to see, excuse me, from Kyler Murray, for him to put together a 4-month body of work regular season instead of, like, 2 and a half, and that last month and a half is really annoying. Like, the Cardinals' rushing attack last year was one of the best in football. Like, as in terms of, like, EPA and success rate and stuff, it was, like, top 5, I'm pretty sure, because and it really took off once, like, Kyler was fully back and able to kinda run and use his legs and
Yeah,
stuff.
and
Like,
Trey
he's
Benson
still
looks like he can ball.
it's still, like, it's really an advantage to have a quarterback that can run because it just makes things so much better for your running back too. We talk about it all the time with Saquon and Hurts, with Henry and Lamar, but with Kyler and James Conner too, it's truly lethal in terms of, like, their rushing attack without Kyler Murray versus with Kyler Murray last year was night and day. Their, like, success rate, yards per carry, all that sort of stuff was certainly bad, and it, like, doubled when Kyler Murray got on the field and was playing full time again. So, I do think that he is enough of an offensive engine in the running game to keep it good all year. It's just his accuracy needs to be a little more consistent, and his just general quarterback play as a thrower to just keep it good for the whole year. There were times last year where I was like, "Oh, man, like, he looks back, like, he looks really good," early in the year. I mean, we remember we were sending each other highlights like, "Damn, like, that's the type of Kyler Murray play where it's like, I don't think there's many guys that are making those throws, like, the way he was rolling to his left and throwing down, it was great." And then as the year rolls on, you just start seeing him miss guys and inaccurate and bad timing, and it's like, "Dude, what the hell is going on?" So I'll be intrigued. I hope he puts it together because if they do, I think the
Yeah,
Cardinals have a nice year.
yeah. I think the thing with the Cardinals too, Michael, is I think the key is going to be Jonathan Gannon because I remember last year or 2 years ago when they played the Cowboys and they beat the Cowboys in Dallas. We were like, oh my God, look at all these, like the scheme and all these wrinkles he's introducing on the defense. And,
Yeah.
oh, why didn't we see this when he was here? And this, that, and the other. It felt like to me, though, the Cardinals, like, same story with Gannon when he was with the Eagles. When the Eagles would play a good team, the defense would allow a lot of points.
Mhm.
When you look at his Cardinals tenure, for the most part, when they're playing a team that they're better than, they always win. But when they play a team that's of equal or like is slightly better than them, they just lose. They just fold like a cheap card table. You
It's
know,
they're like the
like the
Dolphins.
table we put the TV on at the tailgate. They
Dude,
fold
that thing that's from, like,
the
World War
40s.
One. Like,
Like,
what
yeah,
the
like
yeah, yeah.
folds like that pretty much. That's There were 7-2 last year, right? And then they folded. It fell
Mhm,
apart completely at the end of the season. And Michael, it's not a good indicator when you're like a mid team like the Cardinals are, and you just fold like that. It could bleed into the next season as well, right?
mhm.
Now I know what
No,
you're going to
it's
say.
just
Look
right.
at the 2024 Eagles. Well, they don't have half the talent that team did.
No, it was, totally very rare circumstances what occurred with the Eagles. But yeah. Alright, let's move on to the San Francisco 49ers. I would say
Ooh, okay,
yeah, like, I
okay.
think I do think that they are I just think they're worse than the Rams. Like, I think if the Rams are healthy and whatnot, they are the better team. I look at the Niners, and I know it's a very similar conversation with the Niners and health-wise, but, like, their offensive line is not good. It's really not. Ayuk did not look remotely the same after the holdout, and he was dealing got hurt. McCaffrey looks like he's kind of lost a little bit of a step, and I don't think he's to be trusted health-wise. Jawan Jennings, is he ready to really take that next step as the bona fide number 2 receiver on the team? I don't know. Ricky Pearsall, I think, honestly, is gonna have a nice season. George Kittle's the best tight end in football, and their offensive line just doesn't do much for me. I think their offense they made the big Purdy investment. I don't know if it's gonna pay off. Like, I think they got worse, and I think they missed their window, if I'm being totally honest with you.
I have their depth chart pulled up, Michael, and I have to agree. Like if
Dude, there's a lot of red on that depth chart. Look at all the Q's and O's on both sides of the ball, man.
but even like the healthier players, like I think Mykal Williams is going to be a dog. I think he's going to be really
Mhm,
good.
mhm.
Nick Bosa, listen, Nick Bosa is in the like elite pass rush edge rusher category when he's healthy. But man, like
Yeah.
if you're the Niners, this is what you kind of have to hope. You were horrifically injured last year. You had a lot of guys play a lot of games that were your backups, who are now your starters. But
You had a
Michael,
lot of turnover. You lost
right?
Greenlaw, lost Hufanga. You cut, Hargrave. Like, you lost a lot of guys.
But I think, and on defense though, like I don't know. Here's the thing: is that the big thing, the big offseason move for them was Robert Saleh coming back to be the defensive coordinator.
Mhm.
But Michael, when he was with the Jets, man, the Jets had a lot of good players on defense,
And
right?
they regressed, though. Like, their defense got worse over the years.
Well, their defense got worse when he left. Remember?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, like obviously, like they had Sauce, guy that's now on the Lions. I'm forgetting his
Quinnen
name.
Williams,
Quentin
they've got
Williams. Yeah, like you had stars on that defense,
yeah,
and C.J. Mosley when he was healthy.
healthy. Sure, it just
Like you had guys on that, and you look at this defense. I mean, it's really just like Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and a whole lot of and like
a whole
Lenore,
lot of
Diamador Lenore.
a whole lot of fine, a whole lot of fine. Like, and I don't know, man. I don't love this roster. I really don't.
You
I
know what they
think
kind of
they're
remind me of a little bit? Like the
the
2021
2000.
Eagles.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say like the '07 Eagles or something like that. Like, it's we talked about it previous. We're like, oh, is Kyle Shanahan the next Andy Reid? Where it's like when he's coaching in his like early 40s, mid 40s, he's never gonna get over the hump, and people are
Well,
gonna write him off.
here's a very interesting thing here. This is very important to note with the Niners. The Niners right now, their over under win totals 10.5 wins, Michael, because
High.
they have a super easy schedule,
Setting an over under 10.5 is high for sure.
right? Kyle Shanahan's on. This is the last year of his contract. They did
I don't
not
think they let him.
they did not extend him last year. Normally, guys don't. When a guy enters the final year of his contract, Michael, and he's a head coach, like that tells me that I think it's money is the issue, not whether they want him or not. Because Shanahan, I feel like if he hit the open market as a head coach, you don't mean to tell me the New York Giants will make him the highest paid head coach in the league? Look at Vrabel. Vrabel's one of the highest paid coaches in the league. He got fired by the
Yeah, and
Titans.
listen, we talk about that Andy Reid method. I mean, that's kind of what we're looking at here. Like, I mean, Reid, couldn't get it done here.
I mean, how much of this falls on John Lynch and like their like John
I
Lynch
agree. The Niners,
John
I
Lynch
agree.
is
They've
not a good
struggled.
general manager in my opinion.
They
He's
they
not.
have not drafted particularly well in like the uh, it's hard to say what era, but I guess in the Shanahan era, like they've taken some big swings on some draft picks that
Well, it's the Trey Lance
they've
trade.
all kind of missed.
Like they should be sitting with like if they had kept their
Or like
first.
Trey Lance, Solomon Thomas, like those guys never really panned out. They've had top draft selections, and you look at their star players,
Well,
and it's like,
there was
well,
a guy you never even mentioned, Ricky Pearsall.
yeah, like I think he can be a guy this year, to be honest. But Like, Ayuk was a second-round pick, ended up working out, but it's like you see how they got some of their most marquee, really good players, and, Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, Christian McCaffrey be a trade, like, they seem like they struggle with their first-round picks unless it's like "Here's Nick Bosa for you," like, slam dunk sorta pick. It just feels like it feels like they missed their window, and they need, like, a retool. They're in that, like, if we really wanna try to align it with the Eagles, they're clearly post, like, '04, and they're trying to rework their window for, like, a 2008 run, 2009 run, and if that doesn't work out in the next, like, 3 years, they might move on from Shanahan if they don't already after this season. And wherever Shanahan goes next, if he really follows the tree, he'll get his Mahomes eventually and a breakthrough, and everyone will start saying, "Oh yeah, Shanahan's one of the goats," like that sort of thing. Same thing as Andy Reid. Like it's really the same exact
Like
thing.
Michael, if he leaves San Francisco, not because they fire him, because
I
like
mean, there will be teams
they're
that I think cut ties with a head coach that they feel iffy about to have a chance at Shanahan. Whether that's like the Browns, Kevin Stefanski, like or the Giants with Dable, or the Dolphins with Mike McDaniel. Like I think there are guys that are like fringe hot seat coaches where it's not necessarily super gross at the moment, but a couple more failures and disappointments from like, you know what, if Shanahan's going to be available, that's the type of guy we need. Look at Buffalo. How many more times are they going to lose in the playoffs before a serious change is demanded? And it's like, you know what, we gave McDermott enough run. It's time to move on. And oh, by the way, we can pair Josh Allen with Kyle Shanahan. Yeah, maybe Kyle Shanahan will get a Super Bowl when his quarterback's Josh Allen and not Garoppolo or Brock
Purdy.
Purdy. Yeah, so
That's a good that Michael. That would be like
that'd be crazy,
the
but like I
biggest
don't think it's
story of the
possible.
offseason would be, I think, a
Yeah.
Shanahan. Like, but Michael, I feel like that would bleed into maybe the play on the field. Maybe the Niners finish in last again because of it. They go 7-10, 8-9, and then like the Seahawks go 8-9, and then the Cardinals go like 10-7, and then you know,
I guess, yeah, honestly, like if I had to really talk about this division, I could see any of these 4 teams finishing in any order with the least likely situation being, I think, just the Seahawks finishing first. But besides that, I could see a path for any other team finishing anywhere in this division. I really do think it's pretty wide open. But I will say the team that I feel comfortable as the favorite are the Los Angeles Rams.
yes. Well, we found out this week about something we didn't know about for the last several months, and that is the health of one Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, man,
So,
he's old, and he apparently has a herniated disc. He's apparently practicing tomorrow, which is a great sign for the Rams. But when Devontae Adams is saying that, "Oh, yeah, he loves catching balls from Jimmy Garoppolo," to me, that is not an encouraging thing to hear from my newly acquired, like, star receiver, that he feels pretty confident and comfortable catching balls from the backup quarterback. I don't know. That's just me. I wouldn't love, if my quarterback was health was in question and my reassurance from my receiver is, "Oh, yeah, the backup throws me some great passes." Be like, "Okay, so looks like we're gonna be without Stafford for a little bit." So I him practicing tomorrow, I'd say is pretty encouraging for him to be on track for week 1. I think they did say that it was in question, but I guess they'll see how his health looks for the remainder of camp.
yeah, I can just imagine his wife on her podcast going, "They're not protecting Matthew enough."
Yeah, yeah.
It's Matthew Stafford, man. He's one of the toughest guys in the league. Dude, on that third down sack, like Jalen Carter becomes, if he's a Hall of Famer, which he's on that trajectory, right?
Yes,
Very
he
early,
is.
right? When they show his like career highlight film, that sack of Matthew Stafford, it will be
Yeah, that will
replayed.
be very, very
That
important.
will be replayed a lot. Do you remember how he got sacked? Like Stafford didn't fall backwards; he fell forwards and got folded. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
like he got folded like an accordion on that play, if you
yeah.
recall.
Well, I mean, yeah. So the Rams, I think their offense very, very high injury risk. I think with Stafford, Puka
Adams.
is always banged up. Devontae Adams is old. Higbee has been banged up as well. They just paid Kyron Williams a decent chunk of change. I forgot they had Britton
You said he's
Covey as I'm
NFC's Ramondre Stevenson.
yeah, I'm seeing that Britton Covey is on the roster. I did not know that. Wow. Now listen, Britton was great. Honestly, he just couldn't stay healthy. But their offensive line's like
Well, dude,
fine.
Jared Verse is injured too. Did you see that?
Yeah, he's injured. Kobe Turner's banged up.
He said that Jared Verse might
There's
miss
a
like
lot of
week one.
cues that are not ideal for the Rams, I will say.
Why are they always injured?
I look at the Rams and I think like if they're healthy, if Stafford is healthy, and like we've seen that he's been one of the toughest players in football throughout his career. Um, if he's healthy, I think their offense is going to be pretty good. I think Devontae Adams is a really, really nice addition to help kind of stretch the field and give him a new wrinkle in the offense. It's not super McVay like, but you have just two dogs on the outside that are really going to be problematic, I think, for most teams trying to deal with it. And then Tutu Atwell is like a total speedster. Listen, people talk about it all the time. The Rams gave the Eagles the biggest test in the playoffs. Granted, the snow helped a lot, but they hung
Well,
around and
we know
their
McVay
pass rush hung
is a great
around.
head coach.
Yeah, he's a great head coach. Their pass rush is really, really good with Fisk and Turner and
God,
Jared Verse.
Michael, what if the Rams just get everyone just gets injured, they win 4 games, and then Archie Manning retracts his statement of his grandson not going in the NFL, knowing he could go play for the Rams?
I mean, I just can't really visualize McVay coaching a 4-win team. Like if it is Garoppolo, like we could say what we want about Garoppolo. He's like capable. He's not like some
Well,
total
if you have
zero.
15 guys on IR and you're playing
Well, I mean, dude,
scrubs,
if everyone gets hurt, sure, but I think that
like
applies for like
I feel like
everybody.
the take's going to be, oh, let's just bomb the season because they're playing a first place schedule. They're playing tougher teams, and they're just like, hey, let's just bomb draft Matthews Stafford's replacement.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I just
I don't
think
know.
it depends. I guess it really depends if
I mean, let me. I
Stafford is
mean,
going
here's
to
the
be
thing with. I
cooked or
mean, here's
not.
the thing, Michael. He's got a herniated disc in his back. Like, bro, like how many epidurals is he going to get throughout the season to where they just don't work effect? Like, how is that healthy? You know,
No, it's definitely not. But they're
like
going
it
to
sounds
push,
like he
man.
needs surgery, and once he gets surgery, his career is probably over because they're going to have
And
to probably
yeah,
remove that disc from his
well,
back.
I mean, it depends how bad it is. But like the Rams every year kind of get this like designation, and I think it's
Eagles play
pretty
the Rams
accurate.
very early in the season, right?
Yeah, week 3. It's
Week
it's it's
three.
good.
What if Jalen Carter folds him like an accordion again? He can't get up. Is that
I
something the
look
Rams
at
got to be worried about? How
absolutely.
would you feel
I
if you're an offensive lineman, right, a starting offensive lineman right now in the Rams, Michael, where you know, like, if I blow a block and he's a free rusher, my quarterback might get a career-ending injury.
yeah, it's some Stafford's going to really have to. He's going to have to be like Eli back there, where free rusher. You kind of got
Hit
to
the
turn it
turn.
off in your brain, just go down and then protect yourself. Like because here's the thing with the Rams, no matter how they finish in the regular season, long as they make the playoffs, they are going to be threatening. They're going to be scary. I feel like every year since their Super Bowl run, so every year since they got Stafford, they've been the team that it's like, don't really want to play the Rams in the playoffs. Like as good or as bad as it may seem that they are as a whole, they are just not the team that people are dying to see,
Of course
especially with
not.
Matthew Stafford. Stafford's a guy that no matter who he's playing, it doesn't really matter how good of a defense he's playing. He's shown that he's capable of just putting his like balls on the table and making some big throws. He does it every year. McVay, has certainly gotten better at coaching in the playoffs. Again, I think early on he was a little too gun shy, but I think now he's pretty fearless. They are the team that no one wants to run into. They are the playoff team that it's like, "Oh, you run into the Rams, God forbid," they're scary. So, I think from the Rams' point of view, and honestly, they've been operating like this for the last 4 years, is they don't really care where they finish. They just view themselves they need to get in. What was it? A couple years ago, it was the difference between a 3 seed or a 4 seed was on the line in week 18, and McVay chose the rest of starters. He's like, it doesn't, who cares? Like, I just need to make sure that we're healthy going into the playoffs. I'm pretty confident no matter where we finish, doesn't matter the opponent. I
Dude,
just care about
if I'm
my
the
guys
Rams,
being healthy.
if you're a Rams fan, like if Stan Kroenke, like invest in a better medical staff, like
I mean,
everyone's injured.
they're just old too, though. Like they're an old team that, like, yeah, you moved on from Cooper Kupp, who was old, but you got Devontae Adams. He's no
Cooper
spring
Cup's
chicken.
not really all that old.
Yeah, but he's always been made of glass. Like Cooper Kupp's at least 30, right?
He's 32, but these injuries popped up when he was like 28, 29.
Okay, so he's 32, and Devontae Adams is also 32. So it's like they didn't get younger there.
Yeah, but
Stafford's
Devontae Adams, I
ancient.
felt like took last year was on vacation last year. He still had over 1,000 yards. That's insane.
Adams is still incredible. Like it's a clear improvement over Cup, like not even close. So it's a matter if the Rams are healthy, they're dangerous and they're a risk to any NFC contender. If they're not healthy, things could really go awry. So it'll all really depend on the health and mostly on the health of Stafford more than anything. So we'll have to see how the rest of the camp goes for them. But yeah, that's the NFC West. So
Let's just talk baseball because that's
on to
way.
baseball, on to baseball.
So
So
we'll talk
before we
Phillies.
get,
Let's hold off
yeah,
and talk about the Phillies. I want to talk about you want to talk about the state of MLB, like kind of like post trade deadline. We're entering mid August. This is
rosters are
when
pretty much
we're pretty
locked
much like
in.
like if this was like the Kentucky Derby, we made the final turn, headed to the
Hmm.
finish line of the
Stretch run, man.
MLB.
We are in the stretch run.
We're in the stretch run, and Michael, I think it's going to be an amazing finish for the
I
playoffs.
agree. I don't want to go too far into this tangent that I want to slightly touch on. It's just like I hate that we're really looking at a lockout in a couple years because baseball genuinely in terms of competitive balance and like parity is easily in the best place out of the four major
This is the
sports.
best I've ever
And I
seen,
want to give
Michael.
credit to the expanded playoff one because the expanded playoff and those expanded playoff making teams like the 2022 Phillies, like the 2023 Diamondbacks, those sort of teams
Were the
make not
Rangers an
only
expanded playoff team?
no, they just lost the division on the last day. Like I think they were the 5 seed or because it was so tight in the AL, but like they
Right, but that
weren't.
was the old playoff system, like 10, 15 years ago. They would have missed the playoffs.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay, never mind.
They would have been. I think they just would have been playing in the wild card game, like a 1 game playoff. Like it would have been that. But regardless, the expanded playoff has, and not only the expanded playoff, but seeing those sort of teams go on runs has given all teams that are generally in the mix confidence that it's like, listen, man, we just got to get in. And like baseball's always kind of been that way, of all the sports, it is clear without a doubt that the most like a refrain from cursing, but the most like fluke nonsense can occur on any sort of given night and anything can happen. Any team can beat anybody in a baseball game, in a baseball series, a best of 5 especially. Anything can happen, and it creates in just nature of it all, it creates competitive balance, and, like, the Brewers have been on an absurd run for the better part of, like 2 months now, like, at least, like, 40 games or something. They've been on such a ridiculous tear, and they're still only on pace for 101 wins. You know what I'm saying? Like, as good as the Brewers have been, as seemingly devil magic the way they seemingly never lose, they're still only on pace for 101 wins. Like, it feels like no one's going to get 100 wins this year. Like the Brewers would have to keep up what they're doing for another 6 weeks, and they would still barely be eclipsing 100 wins. Like that's something that is it's unfathomable. Imagine like in the football sense of it is 12 wins, for example. Like, teams are playing so well and they're barely going to get 12 wins. So it's like, that's just, sure, man. The league really needs a salary cap for competitive balance. The best team in baseball for like 3 months now is only on pace for 101 wins. Sports books were putting out odds last year for the Dodgers to break the Mariners win record at like plus 2,000. Like, oh, it's obviously it's going to happen. Like, no, baseball is just, it's why baseball is so great. And it's in such a good spot right now. And it's so sickening to me that the owners and the commissioners and their greedy little mittens can't just appreciate and be happy with what they have. And they need to change something to get more money in their pockets, regardless. And that was just a quick little rant because baseball's in a really good spot. And I'm upset that a lockout is seemingly imminent. It really, really bothers me because they're going to kill some really great momentum that they have. And the competitive balance in baseball it's so clear of all the other four sports all the other three sports at the moment in terms of just parity. And yeah, okay. Well, all that being said, the other state of baseball is how the teams are doing at the current moment. It is alarming to me how many teams seem straight up just dead in the water, dead man walking, how they just don't look good. And a lot of them are good teams. Like the Chicago Cubs have been so painfully mid for a good amount of time now, and the Brewers are just kind of running away with the Central a little bit. The Mets are legitimately dead. They're 1-9 their last 10. They lost 6 in a row. In their last like 50 games outside of some random 7-game winning streak, they're like 11-30. They haven't had a starting pitcher throw 6 innings since June 7th. The Mets, dead team walking. The Giants have like 1 foot in the grave. The Dodgers have been really struggling, just going through the motions at this point, playing a little under 500 baseball for the better
Well,
part of like 5 weeks.
pitching.
Yeah, exactly. The Detroit Tigers have been a disaster, having one of the best records in baseball, the best record in baseball by the time the All-Star break rolled around, and have allowed the Cleveland Guardians, who have 2 of their better pitchers being investigated and likely going to be banned from the sport
For
forever.
life.
Um, they've picked up 10.5 games in the division in the last like month. They're in total free fall. The Yankees are absolutely in free fall. All their deadline acquisitions, all their offseason acquisitions just suck ass at this point. Like it is it is so crazy to me how many teams that are currently holding playoff positions and have been holding playoff positions are just brutal at the moment. Like you look at them and they are hopeless and they find ridiculous ways to lose. It is insane. And then you look at like the teams that are playing well, the Brewers, red hot, Phillies in a very good spot right now. The Padres felt like one of those free fall teams, and then I looked and it's like they're like 9-3 in their last 12 or whatever, and like that feels the most fraudulent thing ever. The Reds have been like 500 all year. They're going to be around it. The Giants, eh. Marlins have been red hot, but they're
So
still on
let's
the
just
outside. Like it's crazy right now.
yeah. So I mean, we go to the American League. Like it sounds like to me that Rafi Devers is just a clubhouse cancer because like the whole thing with him not wanting they paid all this money for Bregman, way better defender at third than him. He puts up a fuss. He then leaves the Red Sox where they're struggling. He goes to the Giants when they're playing well. They've completely fallen off the map. And I'm not saying it's all Rafi Devers' fault for both teams either. I just think,
It's just I think it's a weird
fool me
coincidence, to
once,
be
shame
honest.
on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You can't, I don't know if you could say it's a coincidence at this point.
I
I
mean,
will
Boston, yeah, Boston's been very, very good as well.
Well, yeah, like they have so many good young players, Michael. Like when they made that Garrett Crochet trade, their farm system was still ranked really high. Like they
Hmm.
just gave Roman Anthony that giant extension. Like they're building with youth. That they're built. This is how they won the World Series in the mid to late 2010s because you
Mhm.
had homegrown guys like Xander Bogaerts, Mookie Betts, you know, like all those guys, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
mixed in with free agent acquisitions, like you went out and got Chris Sale, like, and you look at the Red Sox now, they got Bregman, who when he's healthy, he's like, I would love if the Bregman was on the Phillies right now.
Yeah, he'd be
You know,
he'd be
I
awesome.
totally regret saying I didn't want them to get him last year. Now I kind of wish I retract that statement. I wish they'd had
Yeah.
him,
No,
right?
he's been cooking for sure.
He's been cooking, you know, like Trevor Story, not really,
Yeah,
right?
he's been solid this
Eh,
year. He's
eh,
been I think it's his best year post Colorado for sure.
right, okay. Well, all right, and then like
That's
you look
not
at me.
great.
I mean, I'm guessing this if they miss the Yankees miss the playoffs with like 82 wins and they really get free fall. Boone's out as GM, the
As
manager.
manager. Yeah,
Boone's
I would
out.
expect that.
Boone's out. I mean, American League Central. Like you said, the Tigers are an absolute free fall. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Phillies, except the Phillies didn't have a team like the Guardians biting at their heels. You know, like we the
No, I
guard.
will say the Tigers lack of just talent is just it's just showing. Like if Scooble isn't like perfect in his outings, they lose more often than not. Riley Green's been like really cold and their offense has been feeling it from that. Like Glaber's been good, but like outside of those two guys, their bats are pretty largely inconsistent.
Well, because at the deadline they made like these like Mickey Mouse moves, and you even said it last show that
Yeah.
they needed like that big like we'll talk about this when we talk about the Phillies. We'll talk about making a big move that feels like a
Yeah.
shot. The term that's used is just
Mhm,
shot in the
mhm.
arm,
Shot in the arm. Yep.
shot in the arm. Like
Absolutely.
it's like or I
You
guess
look at the
it's like get an IV bag when you're dehydrated versus
you look at the American League and it's like the Blue Jays are really good.
dude, that
But
American League West though, man, I think that's where the American League pennant winner is going to come out of.
there's 3 team I guess 4 teams. Like the Astros are inevitable. So they're always like they might just it just might be them. The Blue Jays I think are actually good, but I think there are potential to collapse, I think, at any moment. I think their starting pitching, while solid, can definitely let them down. Like,
I
they
could see
lean a
Jeff
lot on their
Hoffman's like
offense.
you talk about Jeff Hoffman's arm falling off of his shoulder. I could
Yeah,
see them trotting him out there with like throwing like 94 dead arm and him getting
mhm.
shelled, like sort of like what happened with the Phillies.
Yeah, and then the other there's 2 other teams that I think are capable of going on essentially just winning the AL, and it's the Boston Red Sox, who have been one of the hottest teams in baseball. Like, they since the Devers trade, they have, like, the second one of the second best records in the sport behind, like, Milwaukee. Um, and then the Seattle Mariners, who they had a serious deadline, and, like, Randy Arozarena trade last year was really, really good for them. It, like, took care of their outfield for this year too. He's been really nice. Cal Raleigh looks like he's finally breaking out of his slump. J-Rod looks like he's heating up in the second half like he usually does. Eugenio Suarez has actually been struggling, which, not for nothing, I
Not a
think was
surprise.
yeah, but
Was he going to hit 60 home runs?
Josh Naylor's been really good for them too. Like they have a legitimate World Series caliber lineup, and their rotation slash that awful to hit in stadium, it plays. It certainly plays. I think they're going to be dangerous as well. So the AL, there's capable teams, but I do have to say it feels like whoever comes out of the NL wins the whole thing. That's my take.
I would agree, and like yeah,
The
like
NL is just so much better. It's
what about
so
the
much
well? What
better.
about the Rangers? So like the Phillies are playing the Rangers, so
Yeah, man.
their pitching is really good, but their hitting is like
Their hitting's
really
atrocious.
bad.
Like, they flashed a stat on the broadcast, which was otherworldly. Like, the Rangers had the best team ERA in baseball at, like, 3.3 or whatever. However, they have the 3rd least come from behind victories, which is, like, insane to me because your pitching just does not give up a lot of runs, so your big come from behind wins are examples like last night where you're down 2 runs and it's 3-1, or, like, you go down 1-0 and it's like you can't muster up a couple runs and steal a game. Like, They have 17 come from behind wins. That's awful for a team that pitches that well, and it's gotta be frustrating because, I mean, Seager's having a good year, Langford's having a good year, but, like, Semien struggle they're it just feels like their bats should be better. It really does.
It's funny because this is the thing with Bruce Bochy, who's a Hall of Fame manager, Michael, 4 world championships.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's like they're almost like the Giants of like 15 years ago, where they're insane pitching, not very good hitting, but when they get to the playoffs,
Yeah, I was
they
gonna
just
say, if the
they
Rangers get
find ways
in,
to grind out these wins. But here's the thing, though: they have to get to the playoffs.
if the Rangers get in, they're gonna be scary because that pitching is gonna carry, and then they have enough, like, not only just scary bats despite the fact that they're struggling, but, like, playoff risers. Bolis Garcia, massive playoff riser. Corey Seager, as amazing as he is in the regular season, is also a playoff riser, and
If Corey
I
Seager didn't suffer from so many injuries, he's probably having a Hall of Fame trajectory.
absolutely, yeah, so the Rangers can be scary if they get in. We'll get into the Phillies series talk about when we talk more about the Phillies, but yeah, the Rangers can be
Let's
scary.
just go to let's
Let's
just go.
shift to the NL. So
Let's
looking
just
at the
shift the
NL,
NL. So, like, look, the New York Mets. So,
free
Michael,
fall, dude.
I
Utter
told Michael, like,
free fall.
you know what, I gave you a lot of credit today on the show. I want to pat myself on the back when you were freaking out about the Mets signing Juan Soto, where I was like, they will find a way to screw this up somehow.
They're finding ways, definitely. It's Soto's had a good year. Alonso's had a good year.
Well,
Lindor has not had a good year at all. And I'll be what encouraged me to believe into your take was when I saw what the Mets were going at it with the starting rotation, and that was just really discouraging to me. And dude, they haven't had a guy go 6 innings since June 7th. Do you know how
yes,
ridiculous that is? Their starting pitching
doesn't matter how
was
good your bullpen is when their bullpen looks exhausted.
it does. Like, and then Helsley giving up the homer yesterday and like blowing the lead too on
Ryan
like a
Helsley,
error. Like,
Michael, thank God the Phillies didn't get Ryan Helsley.
dude,
Like,
I didn't want Ryan Helsley, man.
that would
I
have
did not
been
want
like that was like the Estevez trade last year, where it's like, oh, we're gonna give up lesser prospects, so we can still get the reliever, but
him.
he's not elite anymore. Like Helsley's gonna probably get a nice little contract, like 2 years, $14 million in the offseason, probably from like the
I think he'll get more
Tigers,
than that.
like from like the Tigers or something.
I think he'll get more than that. But regardless, I hear your point. So like you look at the Mets, they were very much it was very much 2024 Phillies vibes with some less talent, I guess, in some certain places. Like Phillies bullpen, people talk about what they want to talk about. In the regular season last year, the bullpen was pretty ridiculous. Virtually unhittable. You had two guys with sub 2 ERAs, with Hoffman and Strom, and like Kirk. Actually, three guys because Kirkering did too, and like Alvarado was still good. Like the bullpen choking in last year's playoff. I'm sorry, anyone who says they saw that coming was just a doomer and lying. You couldn't have said that in good faith, genuinely. But the Mets, like super hot start, super fluky garbage. Like there's that deserve to winnow meter Twitter account on that like calculates it based on like some expected, how hard he hit the ball, whatever. Dude, the Mets unheard of levels of like 100-mile-an-hour exit velocity outs from the other team and bloop singles going their way and like Mets or luck merchants tweets like every other week or every other game. I mean, like very, very fortunate first half team that it's not like they blow. It just they didn't have enough talent to sustain it for the whole year. And you're really seeing that with the starting rotation. And
2023 Eagle vibes.
yeah, for sure. 24
A
Phillies,
lot of big
23. Like it
names,
just
but they lack depth.
they absolutely lack depth, especially in like it honestly exclusively in the pitching. They really do. And on top of that, their hitting is just struggling too. You don't have enough of anything, really. So yeah, that's always good to see. They're 1-9 their last 10, lost 6 in a row at this point. The Cubs are also struggling a lot. Pete Crow Armstrong has been pretty brutal at the plate. He's one of those guys that if he learns how to walk, will be absurd. He'll be like top 5, learns how to walk because the defense is that good. The power is very encouraging, but he's got pretty horrible plate discipline, and he's like that leads to him striking out a ton. I'm not a big like if you strike out a ton you suck. I really don't care, but it's a matter of if you strike out a ton and you don't walk, yeah, you kind of blow.
Well,
Like it's
I think now, especially with analytics and like video and like
you better
all
walk, man.
and
If you're gonna strike
AI,
out a lot, you
like
better walk.
dude, remember Nick Williams?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying he's Nick Williams. I'm just saying
He's not Nick Williams at all, but like
well, like
it's
same thing. He refuses to walk, and then now he's
Mhm.
out of baseball in like 3 years.
No, sure. Like he needs to really get that
Javi
plate
Baez
discipline
is a
up.
good example of this.
Like you look at, I mean, like because Schwarber, Otani, and Judge strike out obscene amounts, but they walk obscene amounts, so it really doesn't matter. PCA has an on base percentage below Bryson Stott's. It matters, man. Like that's not good. So
Yeah, that's
that
unacceptable.
and some pitching regression. Imanaga has struggled. Matthew Boyd has not been as good. They're in a
Oh,
tough
you mean
way.
the guy that's been like a career reliever for most of his career because of injuries is
Yeah,
regressing?
yeah. The San Diego Padres, as per run differential, not great, but they are winning games and doing it in spite of how poorly Fernando Tatis has been for a while. Hasn't homered much. Uh, really just looks like you watch their games, it looks like he's just going through the motions. They're really kind of being carried by like Manny and like Bogarts has honestly been heating up a little bit for the first time as a Padre.
Well, their bullpen is insane.
They have the super pen
They don't give up
and
runs after the seventh inning where games are won or
Psycho
lost, which
AJ
means they should
Preller.
probably have more wins, if
They
anything.
should. And Psycho Preller, like really replenishing that lineup with Luriano and O'Hearn. It really lengthened that lineup too. So I think they have a lot of talent, but I'm not super scared of them, to be honest. I'm just, they'll make the playoffs, but I don't know. I just
The
feel
whole
like
point of this like Padres super team was to have Fernando, Manny, Soto all on the same team, and the fact they couldn't like come to an agreement contractually or him not wanting to be there, I think really kind of screwed up their whole plan, man. They would
yeah.
if they had Juan Soto, they probably would be better than the
I
Dodgers
mean,
right
unfortunately, their like owner passed away, and
now.
like that,
Right.
and they went like broke because of it. So,
Well,
um,
here's the thing too. Jackson Merrill has been banged up. That's been bad for
yeah,
them.
the bat needs to come back with him.
That yeah, like if Jackson Merrill wasn't in the same Rookie of the Year race as like the friggin' pitching Jesus, then
Mhm.
he probably would have been the Rookie of the Year last year. Like in most normal years, he's a
Yeah,
Rookie of the Year, right? He's that
yeah,
good.
very good.
And yeah,
And then yeah, I guess that's kind of we talked about the Brewers already. The Dodgers, it's like
you see the Brewers closed their roof and they still had rain leak through it because they play in that dump of a stadium.
he's yeah. You look at the Dodgers, and it's like Mookie. It seems like this is all because of that illness that he like lost a ton of weight. Because like any athlete, even as baseball doesn't seem like as
Well,
much,
dude,
you lose weight during the season, like you just do, just playing every day. So like he did a bunch to try to gain a weight back, but he never got back to his normal weight, and then he like lost it just playing every day. So he's been
when you're a 10
just
war
not
player
healthy.
and you're going to finish with a war of 3, the win total's going to drop. It doesn't like this is
Absolutely,
like
yeah.
I don't know, man. This is like one of Otani's like down seasons, air quotes, because
I guess he's
like he's
been
not going to
unreal.
finish with a wins above replacement of like 12. Like this, I
Yeah,
mean, like
and like
he's going to win the MVP by default. But like if Kyle Schwarber hits 60 home runs, and
yeah, but like
if the Phillies
Freddie,
win,
yeah.
if the Phillies win the World Series,
And
everyone's
Phil's
going to be
nothing
like
into it, the MVP, but
Fugazi MVP. You're a Fugazi fake
I
MVP.
don't know. Like he's gonna have 1,000 OPS, and he's gonna pitch like 50 innings of like or 40 innings or so of like 2.2 ERA
Are
ball.
they
He's
going to keep
probably going to
letting
hit
him
it again.
pitch? Because he got removed last time because he got hurt. He hurt himself.
No, he pitched again after that and shoved. Went 4 innings, 8 strikeouts. So
Okay.
yeah, he was pretty lethal. Freddie seems like he's finally starting to decline, and it's still a great year. It's just the power numbers have kind of fallen off, and he's not hitting like 320 anymore. So like, oh
See, that's
wow,
the
he's
thing. The
only
thing
hitting
with the
300.
Dodgers, though, man, it's like they don't really like. I think the biggest myth in baseball is they have this loaded farm system.
Mhm.
Like we joke, like they transfer.
They pay for their prospects to be, yeah, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. But all right, on to the Phils. They they look good, man. Their offense since the All-Star break has been awesome. It's been largely carried by Kyle and Bryce, and that is always greatly appreciated. Those two, Bryce's power looks all the way back. You know, his swing looks as violent as it's looked in a couple years. Schwarber is obviously like ridiculous. Um, Bryson Stott's been improved since like the end of July. Brandon Marsh has been really awesome since May. JT Realmuto, while struggling since moving up in the 4 hole, his improvement offensively has helped a lot. And then like Max Kepler legitimately has been improved over the last like 2 weeks or so, like definitely making a case to deserve to kind of stay. And that kind of lends me into this proposition for you. Matt Gelb hinted at this, saying that while Castellanos has greatly struggled against right-handed pitching, especially as of late, but he's been struggling offensively as a whole as of late. But against right-handed pitching, he has a sub 300 on base percentage, like pretty bad. He's had a really bad like month and a half at this point. How does this sound for a postseason outfield versus right-handed starting pitching? Brandon Marsh in left field, Harrison Bader in center field, Max Kepler in right field. And then versus left-handed starting pitching, Otto Kemp in left field, Harrison Bader in center field, Nick Castellanos in right field.
We're just gonna not play Casty at all. And that.
No, against left-handed starters, he's going to start. And like you'll pinch hit with Castellanos when they bring in a lefty against for like Kepler
Well, considering that he
or
mouthed off to
Marsh.
the manager at one point, man, I don't know if like that's the thing is like that's probably going to be a next year thing if they were if they want to keep Bader, which I don't think. I mean, listen,
I think they're
Otto Kemp
keeping
is
Bader.
much better in left and first base than he is at third defensively. We know this, right?
Listen, John, I'm just proposing the outfield. What would you and not what the Phillies are going to do, not what you think they're going to do. How would you feel if that was the postseason outfield? Bader every day in
I
center.
think I want Casty out there against righties and lefties because, like, I don't know, Michael. The last couple years, like, I know no one talks about this because we block out that Mets series out of our minds. He was the Phillies' best hitter in that Mets series. I know we don't want to, we want to flush that from our minds, but he's kind of a guy who steps it up during the playoffs. You talk about, Adolis Garcia steps it up during the playoffs. Like,
I mean, he's been,
I don't know.
the
Like, that's the thing, man.
the
Like, if you
23 NLDS was great.
playing Kepler over Casty against right-handed pitching, and like I need to see more from Kepler than just a few games. I know, like, I mean, the team legit was like, I mean, the team went to the GM saying we need another outfielder. Like, that's sort of referendum on Kepler's like moping in the dugout. Now, obviously, I think he's kind of gotten over it. I think they probably sat him down and told him like this is the reality. You know, I couldn't. Bryce is the type of guy I could feel like getting in his face and telling him to f either you're going to step up or f or there's the door. Get the f out of here. He's that type of guy. I'm just saying, like maybe he's accepting it, but
I don't know. I think
I think
Kepler.
Michael. I think it's just you play it by ear. Like
No, I get it. You can't
this
make
is
that decision on
this is
August
kind of my
10th.
take right now with the Phils. Is I think the Joan Duran trade has really helped make Rob Thompson's job easier because now what you're putting out there in the ninth inning, and it makes it when Rob does all of his like platoons and decisions that the most important decision is who you're going to pitch in the ninth inning.
I will say, yesterday was an example where I was open to Duran pitching the eighth. I don't know what the Phillies are going to do. Feels like Thompson's going to kind of save him for the ninth, maybe a couple 4-out saves here and there. I'm calling it now. I think he gets a 6-out save in the playoffs, a la Sir Anthony in 2022 Game 3 of the NLCS. I think he's going to get one at least. But like yesterday was such an example for me where it was 3-1 going into the bottom of the eighth, and due up was Seager, Semien, Langford. Um, uh, who hits fifth for them? Like Berger and then Garcia or something. And I knew they were going to go with Strom. I knew they were going to go with the lefty. But in my mind, I was like, listen, this is where I want my best pitcher to throw. And I would have Duran throw the eighth, get through Seager and whatnot, and then go. And then I visual evidence. I was texting my friends. I was like, listen, man, this is the spot I'd put Duran in before the ninth. And obviously, Matt Strom promptly gives up a home run to Seager. He pitches fine otherwise. There were some pretty hard hit outs, so I was a bit worried. And then Duran comes in and shuts down the ninth like nothing even happened. My only argument against he's the closer ninth every time is that yeah, man, we're gonna want to shove spoons up our eyes if we're up 3-1 in a playoff game against the Mets, and here comes due up Lindor, Soto,
Well, that's
Alonso.
assuming the Mets make the playoffs, Michael.
Okay, Mets or anyone, the Dodgers or whoever, and it's like, okay,
in Wrigley.
yeah,
And that
let's say it's due up of
Tucker, PCA,
Tucker, Seiya
Tucker.
Suzuki, and PCA, and it's like, all right, we want to go Strom here in the eighth, up 2 runs, and up after those 3 guys are like Dansby and Horner, whatever, and we don't even get to the ninth with a lead because we're saving Duran for the ninth. Like, I just have bad visions of potentially that happening, and I'm gonna be really sick to my stomach.
So let's say you bring Duran. Let's just look at it from each side. You bring in Duran against in the eighth inning. He gets out of it, closes them down.
Yeah,
Goes
1, 2, 3, clean, and you're up 3-1 going into the ninth.
You get to the bottom half of I think because the Rangers just suck at hitting right now. Strom would probably get those outs near the 7th, 8th, and 9 hitters, but it's like the gamble is if he doesn't, then you got to face the top half of the order with men on base with the game on the line because the bottom of the ninth, and then you're taking Strom out, and then you're putting in Tanner
Kirkering.
Banks, or then
you're putting Kirkering in that spot.
You're putting Kirkering out there, and then it's I think I think they like Duran in the ninth because it's you're putting pressure on the other team, knowing that okay, we need to take advantage of our outs really in the 7th or 8th inning, because if we don't, we know we're not going to come back in the ninth. It's going to be almost impossible.
And that's probably the best argument, I think, of they're feeling that pressure, we need to get it done now.
Or if we're like a Bruce Bochy, if he sees Duran come out in the 8th, he's going to tell his best hitters, I need you guys to grind these at bats out to get him, potentially make him throw 25, 30 pitches, and then maybe force a pitching change and screw it up to where now Thompson's going to have to overmanage in the ninth. And if we could somehow grind out a run, I'm thinking we're going to win.
No, I hear you, and that's probably the best argument I've heard against it. Most of the arguments you hear are very just boomer traditional, oh well, he's the closer, okay. But I think the best argument there is that mental clock of okay, man, we have 6 outs to get into this lead because Duran is looming and it's going to ruin everything for us.
If
where
Strom load the bases in his first three batters, then I'm bringing Duran in to get the 6
right, but
outs.
you're asking him in like an impossible situation. I hear you.
Because
Where
he's
it's
the only
like,
one I would trust to get out of it, right?
because so let's because you put in Duran against the best hitters 2, 3, 4, and he gets cruises and gets through it. Yeah, I feel like, all right, awesome. Now I need my second or third best reliever to be able to get out the bottom of the order here. Like I just need them to
The
be able to
thing
do
is,
it.
see, here's the thing though, is Duran is a beast, right? He loves
Yes.
that pressure.
Dude, he's perfect.
Dude,
I just
there is pressure when you have to pitch the ninth inning. It doesn't matter who
no,
you're
but I do
facing.
think
It
they
doesn't
have the guys
matter,
they have are
especially
capable.
in the playoffs, Michael. Like in the playoffs, like facing like the Padres now, like dude, like it's not like the Padres seventh, eighth, and ninth guys all blow like the
No.
Rangers.
And listen, all this to say, I do think Thompson is going to save Duran for the ninth, and anytime he comes in before that, it's to get to just finish the game. Whether it's 5 outs, whether it's 4 outs, whether it's 6 outs. I think if he's coming in the eighth, they're not throwing a different pitcher in the ninth, lest they like blow the game wide open. So maybe it's a futile conversation. Maybe my brain is just a little too whatever. But I think like yesterday was like the perfect opportunity for I think he could have thrown him the eighth, and it would have been interesting to see
Well, I
just
think
general
before you
reaction
have
of
a
how it
Duran,
worked
it
out.
made sense because you didn't really have a quote unquote true closer.
And granted, when you look at Duran's stats, he's thrown like 50 to 60 or so innings in the eighth inning of his career. His ERA is 3.7. And then in like his 150 innings of the ninth, his ERA is a 2 flat. So maybe coming in earlier doesn't bode well for him. Maybe he doesn't like it. Maybe he was just when he first got up to the Twins, he wasn't their closer and he was just working things out because he was like 22 years old when he first came up. I don't know. It's a lot of a lot of questions that I feel like Rob is just going to kind of take the easy way where he's going to really like, you know what, like you said, make his job easier. He is exclusively kind of pitching the ninth unless he is going to
Yeah, that's the big thing.
finish the
Like
game.
I remember, like listen, I've been critical of Rob Thompson because it feels like he does like overmanage at times, where you're just sort of like taking guys out early. Look at the last like you brought up
I
Kepler.
like it though, man. I really do. I
You
think
brought up Kepler. I of course you like it.
it's been working,
I,
man, because
but my point is, this is my thing though. Is like, man, for a baseball manager, it's a paradox. It's the easiest job, and at times it can be the hardest job.
Mhm, mhm.
Easiest job because baseball's not like football where you have to run plays. The guy goes up to hit,
Yeah,
has
it's not a scheme. It's not,
right. But at the same time, like, give me an example. Game one of this series against the Texas Rangers, Max Kepler's out there. We're like, people are going, why that bleep is Max Kepler playing? This guy sucks. He's a bum. Get it? Like, why is he not cut yet? Basically,
Mhm. Yeah,
big game, right?
yeah,
Big game.
yeah.
Last night against DeGrom, Phillies couldn't touch him for the first 6 innings. It's a
Mhm.
typical DeGrom masterpiece. This is why another guy didn't have injuries, Hall of Fame trajectory, right?
Yeah.
Max Kepler is like ripping getting these like hitting rockets off of him for the most part.
Mhm.
And you heard AJ Pierzynski said about 175 times about Globe Life Park in the broadcast last night.
How hot is
How hard it is to hit a home run here, It kind of
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
He's right. Like, Max Kepler is just, he's getting, he's the reason why they won last night. It's because he's
The
making
outfield
decisions,
as a whole, man, was
right? Like if Topper had a World Series ring with the Phillies, would people be questioning his decisions as much as they do? Probably not.
no, but I guess we'll know that question come football season.
I
So
would agree. Now, all right, listen, we're all bitching and kvetching here. Let's
we are kvetching for
kvetching.
them
Let's talk
to
about the
be
good here. Kyle
they've been
Schwarber.
awesome, man.
Kyle
They've
Schwarber.
been
Uh,
yeah,
need to re-sign him.
yeah.
Michael, it's going to be a shame he's probably not going to win the MVP unless like Shohei Ohtani takes the rest of the year off or gets
Yeah,
hurt.
we need a knock on wood. I don't want him to get brutally injured, but like let's sit him down
It's
for
like a hamstring, grade 2 hamstring pull.
yeah, man. Let's give him some shoulder soreness. Not a big deal. It doesn't matter, but let's just get him out of the lineup for a few weeks, please. Thanks.
And Schwarber, I mean, I never
Thanks.
thought anyone was ever gonna match Ryan Howard's 58 home runs. Kyle Schwarber right now,
He's on pace,
serious
man. He
threat
is
to that.
on pace. I just want to point out that last year I placed the wager before the season for Zach Wheeler to throw for 200 strikeouts and Kyle Schwarber to hit 40 home runs. And it was the only year he's probably ever going to hit less than 40 home runs in a Phillies uniform last year. So sorry to everybody, I guess. But I guess for the greater good, he's become a top hitter in the sport. So that's pretty cool. Truly, like I've been tweeting it like a couple screenshots of Savant pages, and it's like who's who, and him and Shohei Ohtani's look exactly the same. So just want to point that out to
He's like the
everybody.
Phillies, so like he's the Phillies version of David Ortiz.
Yeah, yeah, no, walks a ton, hits the living crap out of the ball. Has actually been unlucky this year. Like his expected batting average is like a hair under 280, and he's hitting like 255. So there's like meat on the bone that he's been getting gritzed out of because he hits into like absurd amount of 110 plus mile an hour exit velocity outs. Um, so yeah, like he's as amazing as he's been, he could be even better with some better luck. So
Yeah,
it's really
Ortiz had
special
that
how good
Mickey
he's been.
Mouse right field and
Like down the line in Fenway.
down the
Yeah,
line where he
yeah.
would just hit so many home runs there. Where Schwarber doesn't really.
Well, I mean,
I
home
mean,
is
it is a
pretty
short right
nice.
field at CBP, but
Oh,
compared to
home's pretty nice too, man.
right, whatever.
No, but it's true. Like Schwarber's been awesome. Harper's been awesome. Trey looks like he's on the brink of like figuring it out. Again, he went through a pretty tough slump there.
I got 5 RBIs the other night.
Shout out to Brandon Marsh. We talked about it a little bit, how comparable his stats were to the first like 05, 06 Shane Victorino, where Victorino was like the fourth outfielder on the team and would kind of play when guys would get hurt and platoon here and there. Like Victorino wasn't a total everyday player when he first got here, the same way Marsh kind of isn't. And very, very similar stats where, yeah, Victorino's glove definitely cleared, but
Well, Victorino became an everyday player when they traded Bobby Abreu midway through 2006, and then he became the everyday right fielder. And then when
they
Aaron
traded Aaron
Rowan left in
Rowan,
free
then he became the
agency,
everyday
then he
center
became the
fielder.
everyday center fielder. I would say they're kind of comparable guys. Like the personalities are very similar.
Yeah,
The
loved by
only difference,
teammates.
and then obviously Brandon Marsh bats better from the left from hitting right-handers in Victorino. The kryptonite for Brandon Marsh, unfortunately, is his ability to hit lefty pitchers.
Left-handed pitching.
Let me
But the
pull up
fact that his
his stats and let's see if he improved this year
no, he didn't.
versus.
I looked at it yesterday. It's
Oh, he
not.
didn't.
It's
No.
pretty ugly. But versus righties, it's awesome. It's that makes it even honestly more impressive as like the fact that he has been still platoon player, but since May has been like he's got the third highest OPS on the team, despite the fact where he went hitless in April. So like it's pretty remarkable. And fans can't stand him. I couldn't tell me why. I
Really, I
don't
don't
get it.
dislike. I don't. Do you think? I mean, everyone.
Dude, the
I mean,
fans hate him. How
the
many
fans
times
hate
do we see the
everybody not
Ohapi
named
stuff?
Zach Wheeler, Christopher Sanchez, or Bryce Harper, or Schwarber, Michael. That's it.
I
Everybody
agree.
else is low.
But it's like, I mean, how many times you see the Ohapi stuff. It's so annoying. And it's like Marsh is a legitimately good player, and people would have done anything to get him off the team like 3 months ago. And it's pretty tiring. Like it's definitely
My
tiring.
buddy. So one of my buddies at work, like a month ago, was like, "Dude, I wish we had no Hoppy." I'm like, well, I said, "Man, like he's a horrible defensive catcher, and he would have to play first base realistically, and his hitting isn't really that great right
He
now."
strikes out way too much. He doesn't walk.
I mean,
That's
if you
one
make the
thing.
argument that if he was with the Phillies and like their system versus the absolute clown show of the Los Angeles Angels, maybe, but
Maybe, but it's not. Yeah.
I mean,
So
if you didn't have Brandon Marsh, that means you're playing Weston Wilson every day,
yeah,
or
or like
Johan Rojas
Rojas a
every
lot more.
day,
Yeah.
which is like really bad.
So the thing I want to end with, as we talk about, Duran has been like a shot in the arm. It's like the luxury of having him is so nice. He's like the perfect closer. Um, you know, dropping that curveball on Jock Peterson was just unfair. You're gearing up for a 98-mile-an-hour splinker and then a 102-mile-an-hour fastball, and then he drops some 85-mile-an-hour curveball that he throws like once every 2 weeks, and it's like, okay, really fair. Um, so he's been great. I want to propose to you. I guess I'll propose to you this. The last thing we end with. Let's say Kepler like kind of keeps what he has going, where it's like it's not amazing, but it's not bad, and playoffs are rolling around. The starting nine kind of has itself settled, where Castellanos going to be every day in right field. They finally seem to feel comfortable with like Bader every day in center, perhaps, and your options and your like left field is like a Marsh Kemp, Otto Kemp situation. In terms of like a non-starter, out of these three players, who do you think is the most valuable to have on the bench come playoff time? Max Kepler, Johan Rojas, or Justin Crawford?
Well, Justin Crawford, you have no knowledge of at all. Now,
You don't, and they
I
make
mean,
it
so
seem
like,
like you're
here's
gonna
the
see
thing,
him.
Michael. Like, realistically, like Johan Rojas, what does he bring? He's a defensive replacement, and he's not a good base runner. Like, he gets out.
He's very fast, but he's not a good base runner. You're right.
He's not a good base runner. So it's really Max Kepler because you could
You think
pinch
it's
hit.
Kepler?
Because, okay, here's a situation. Bryson Stott's do with the bases loaded up with one out, with a right hander coming up. Now, you're down by a run. So, okay, who's the guy that's most likely going to get a sacrifice fly on your bench? Probably Kepler, right? And then you would just sub in Edmundo.
I mean, I think in
Because
that
Bohm is
situation
coming
he'd
back
let
soon,
Stott hit.
Michael. He will be back, and he will
Let's
be
make
the
it
starting
this.
third baseman.
Let's make it this. Let's say I think my argument I honestly I think value Rojas the most because I don't think outside of the platoons, which in this situation I think your platoons are pretty comfortably um is Otto Kemp and Brandon Marsh in left, and then Edmundo Sosa and Bryson Stott at second base. Those guys will pinch hit for each other. Versus a lefty, you'll get Sosa for Stott versus right, whatever. Those guys. Other than that, I really don't visualize them using a pinch hit a ton. Um, I think the value of Rojas as a defensive sub, where you could do like Rojas in center, Bader in left, Marsh in right, as that is like a legitimate outfield weaponry, like one of the best defensive outfields you can possibly assemble, honestly. And I think with the pitching that you have, having that in your back pocket where you have like three legitimately elite outfielders in one at one time can be very, very valuable. And I think perhaps more valuable than having like triple pinch hit situations where it's like, okay, we pinch hit uh Kemp for Marsh, and you know now they're bringing in a righty for Kemp. So now the game's going long enough that we're going to bring in Kepler this time around for Otto in like the 11th inning or something like that. Like I feel like it would have to be an extra inning situation before Kepler gets that at bat opportunity. And I think the value of the defensive replacement might be a little bit higher for this team in particular.
I don't know, man. It just seems like when Johan Rojas at the playoffs has just had so many brain farts. Like, I don't know. Like, he feels like he's just been phased out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
It,
whole, like Bader basically does everything Rojas does, but better. Where like
I think Rojas a better defender still, but everything else, yeah.
Well, let's look up. I'm gonna give me a moment. Johan.
I mean, metrically, Rojas had like a pretty rough start to the year, but like since then has been pretty positive. Um,
Yeah, but
Bader's been a
yeah,
good.
but here's the thing, though, Michael. I hate to say
Bader's
it.
been like elite in left. He's been pretty good in center, but it's not been
Yeah, but
as
I mean,
elite.
last year. I mean, here's the thing, though, Michael. Unfortunately, the Phillies aren't in a position after the big three. Obviously Turner, Harper, Schwarber, where you can't have a guy that literally cannot get you a hit. He provides you zero offense.
Well,
Like
it's a
you.
defensive replacement. Like it's the
Oh
situation
yeah, like a
where
defensive replacement. I don't know, man. Like
I don't think you'd ever start
yeah,
Rojas
but
in a
Michael,
playoff
if you look at
game.
the last couple teams to win the World Series, it feels like there was a pinch hitting moment they needed to help them get over the hump. Look at the Rangers with, I hate to say this, Travis Jankowski. We went to a game together. He committed
Yeah,
one of the most egregious base running mistakes I've ever watched.
yeah,
But he had the clutch hit of the postseason, right?
yeah.
Look at the Braves, all the pinch hits they had to help get them to the Winter World Series. Michael, the Phillies, in order for them to win the World Series, they will need someone to get a big pinch hit at some moment. It's
Hmm.
inevitable. It has
Hmm.
to happen. And I'm just saying, like I mean, maybe the pitching is so dominant. Like they get 7 innings from every starter. And then all Topper has to do is figure out who pitches the eighth inning. Even if it's like Luzardo comes in to have to come and
Sure.
pitch the eighth inning, or Ranger, and then you go to Duran. Phase
Hmm.
out, if you're worried about Kirkering not getting missing bats, or Tanner Banks, maybe
In a big spot. Yeah,
overachieving, having him in a big spot. You know, maybe that happens. Probably not, because that's just history dictates that.
yeah,
Look at the
yeah.
last time the Phillies won the World Series, Michael. What was the biggest? But whenever it talks about that 2008 Phillies team that won the World Series, what was the biggest postseason spot of all their hitters? People say, what was the most important at bat for them in order for them to win the World Series? It's Matt Stairs pinch hitting game 3, hits a ball 500 feet in Dodger Stadium.
Sure, but I mean the DH kind of nullifies like the required pinch hitter
No, but it's all
situation.
about, like, the Phillies like to play matchups. It's all about playing matchups. Like if Bryson Stott is like 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts and the bases are loaded, and you're like, okay, I need a run. Of all the guys on my bench that I trust the most to hit the piss out of the ball for me to get
It's Max. No,
it's
I
Max
get it.
Kepler.
It'll be.
The Phillies,
It's a
see,
fair
you
argument.
said it. You said it to me yesterday. You said,
Yeah,
the Phillies love Max Kepler's ability to hit piss missiles. He's
they
just
do.
super unlucky.
They do.
Well, maybe
It'll
he
be
gets
interesting.
lucky. I don't know. Eventually, I mean,
It's,
what's I mean, if baseball is just basically you're gambling on odds and what guys are going to do based off their abilities anyway, right? Who do you trust to hit a piss missile more? Noodle bat Bryson Stott or Max Kepler in a big spot?
I agree. It'll be interesting to see what they end up deciding. Again, this all it's August 10th. It'll all depend on how things look on September 30th, before these decisions actually get made. Um, but yeah, it'll there's a few interesting wrinkles that need to get figured out with the rest of the team before they're fully geared up for the playoffs. But that being said, we're about 2 hours out from first pitch in Texas. Hopefully, Zach Wheeler, um, with his start getting pushed back, will show out and look a
Patrick
lot more like
Corbin on the
himself.
mound for the Rangers.
Phillies have been struggling to sweep teams as of late. Um,
Well,
so maybe
so
they can
yeah,
get one, man. Maybe they can get one.
I'll say this though: for Schwarber MVP, this has got to be like a 3 home run day. Like
Yeah.
this is like if he wants to break Ryan Howard's single season home run record, this is like he's got to hit like 2 or 3 ding dongs today, and then like the Phillies just bludgeon
Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, everybody, that is
everybody.
that is our show.
Thanks. Take it easy, everybody.
We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Pod, Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.